one more night, and I'm coming off this long and winding road.
Welcome back to the J.F.K. channel. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me.
I'm on my way tonight, I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
Vinny, you got guys like Johnny D. Look at this guy. No one ever called this guy handsome in his life. He's just a character. He says 10 and 2 is the intent to do something bad. When Nagel drove by,
Ryan
10
Nagel
and 2.
with her hands on 10 and 2. That's like a race car driver. That is not relaxed. That is someone with intent.
See, I always thought 10 and 2, two hands on the steering wheel was like old lady stuff. Disclaimer, no disrespect. And this guy's saying that it was rage. And this is the guy you put on your show, Vinny? Come on. What are we talking about here? And Officer Barrows testified absolutely not that tail light was in that condition. That should be the smoking gun, because we already had jurors that came out and said that they found her not guilty on the murder, so they're already double jeopardizing her. Then you guys hid Proctor, hid Brian Albert, hiding Higgins and all the other characters, from Nicole to Julie to Chris Albert to Colin, and it goes on, hiding people from the jury. And then when Yannetti brings up the waterfall video, the waterfall video.
And that had 3 question marks behind it, correct?
Yes.
Did you text Karen about coming over to 34 Fairview?
No.
And Auntie Bev, the public pretender, hides that too and makes sure certain things don't get in. Why? What are you guys hiding? Damn.
So, we're pulling into the driveway right now. 34 Fairview, here we are. Allegedly, he was right there.
There's no way. John O'Keefe was placed there. There's no way he was there. And 7 people back.
The homeowner, who is a Boston cop.
He was talking about Sergeant Detective Brian Albert, a 30-year veteran of the Boston Police Department. The tipster said John had been beaten by people at the party inside Albert's house.
He believed that it was Brian Albert who had tuned up John.
The crazy thing, Hank, if you had another case that involved a dog bite, you probably would call Dr. Russell, because you're the harmonica player. You want to be that solo act, that spectacle. Look at the way you dress. Look at the way you move. Whitey Bulger. Want to be involved in the big cases. You want that part in that movie, don't you? You want that back end. $200,000 you're making, huh? That's good money, especially when your practice is in the toilet, because we all know no one's paying you $500 an hour in this climate where we're at right now in this space and time, because people ain't solid no more. Kids don't do the crime and do the time. They just rat out their friends. So if they're going to rat out their friends, why do they need to hire a lawyer? So what do? You switch sides, because that's the type of guy you are. You got no integrity. You got no moral compass. You got no level of respect.
Whether the defendant's Lexus struck Mr. O'Keefe on January 29, 2022.
That is consistent with that happening with a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. That is what happened.
Oh, I have nothing to say to Jen McCabe. I would say the dash cam and the 911 calls speak for themselves. If you want to know what the scene was like, just watch the video. Don't take anyone.
They first contacted you telephonically. Called you on the phone. Is that right?
Actually, they walked up to my car.
At that point, they had not identified themselves, correct?
They didn't know. They didn't know.
All right, and at that point, you told them that you were not Jennifer McCabe. They asked you who you were, and you said, I'm Nicole.
I thought they were like selling something, so I was like, oh no, I'm not the homeowner.
Oh no, I'm not the homeowner.
Because initially, Karen called Jen and said she didn't remember anything. Isn't that what you testified to, Jen?
John didn't come home. She left him at the waterfall. Just woken up. I was
What are you talking about? And then she, told me that they had gotten into a fight and she left him there. I remembered that Chris Albert had still been at the bar. Maybe John walked home with Chris because Chris lives close to the waterfall.
Then the next day on Cross, you got confronted with the 911 call when you said, I don't know what happened, he got out the car. Isn't that what you said?
I don't know, he got out of the car and...
Was that you?
Yes, that was.
Is that the 911 call?
Yes, it was.
And what did you just say?
I said, I don't know, he got out of the car.
And this was at 6:03 in the morning, correct?
Correct.
In that 911 call, you said he got out of the car, didn't you?
I did, because Karenread had told me that she had left him there.
Oh, no, I'm not the homeowner.
Now what is it? Why would you say the night before, let me call Julie and see if he walked home with Chris A, knowing that he didn't do that, knowing you were just talking to him on the phone for allegedly directions, knowing you were texting him, knowing that you seen him outside? Why would you do that? Huh? And then the very next day switch it up and say Karen said, because she said she dropped him off there. We don't believe that, Jen. You lied right there. Then on the 911 call, you called 911. And when you called them, this is what they said.
34 Fairview Road in Canton, Mass. There's a man passed out in the snow. There's a man passed out in the snow. There's a guy unresponsive in the snow. There's a man passed out in the snow.
You said there's a man passed out in the snow. They said, hold on, let me put you through the care. And then you said the guy. You had two tries, the man and the guy. Wow. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Common sense would dictate you're all lying.
I have a question from J.F.K. Show Off. Do I think Karenread should take the stand and explain them sound bites? Rule of completeness. Yeah, you're referring to the Federal Rules of Evidence, Rule 106 on completeness, which states that if one side introduces all or part of a written or recorded statement, the other side is allowed to introduce the entirety of that statement, just so things aren't taken out of context, and therefore it's complete. The statement is complete. So far, the prosecution has introduced various sound bites that Karenread has given in interviews, and honestly, I don't think they've been that detrimental to her or her case. So I don't think there's a need at this point for her to explain those away. I mean, if anything, the defense could introduce the entirety of those interviews, but Karenread's also doing something kind of clever here in that she's essentially found a way to testify without taking the witness stand. So Karenread is getting her story out there, and it's not under oath, and it's not subject to cross-examination.
Hank Brennan, you just want to be the villain. You want to be the principal, right? You're in that position for a reason. Whatever you say goes. It's detention for you and detention for you. There'll be no talking in the lunchroom. Isn't that true, Hank Brennan? We seen you throw your temper tantrum. We seen you throw down your computer.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
With the defense. I'm asking you specifically about your conversations with the defense.
All right, thank you.
You get all mad and all upset. You got no remorse, picking on Dr. Russell, saying, do you have a good memory? Damn, Hank. Did you talk to Gary Z this week on Corey Links? How about you, Krowski? Because that's the three-man weave right there, right? Gary's a roller. And we all know where Gary is, and we all know what he's charged with. And Krowski, you guys come from that Essex County branch, learning how to maneuver and hide things and manipulate things.
Karenread, there's evidence before this jury. Within a minute of leaving, she's calling him. Within 2 minutes of leaving, she's calling him again. From 0 to 60 into that hate-filled, rage-filled voicemail that she began leaving him. So, look, can we say unequivocally we knew she hit him? Perhaps not, but she was in a state of rage. There's all the hallmarks of a domestic violence situation.
Make sure you subscribe. I go by the name of J.F.K, and I'll see you next flight. 39,000. Peace and love.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's wake up, wake up. Get up, get up, get up. Cash your checks and get up.
Certainly, it's not consistent with getting hit by the car. I mean, you can't deny the science and the physics as to what would have happened if he was struck by the vehicle.
From McCabe, when she, Karenread and Kerry Roberts found John O'Keefe's body.
I think she's passed away.
Got him donuts. 6 donuts. Donuts. I've been doing it there 2 years.
I responded some of my questions. Defendant responded. Okay, which? Ask again. I said, nope, tricks are for kids.